talking to the guys from Low. I'm good friends with Adrian, the bass player. He's a film producer, so he works on commercials as well.
I mainly work on TV commercials, but have done lots of music videos. We were always kind of talking about trying to do a Low music video at some point.
I'd gone to see the band play a few times at some different gigs and really liked them.
When we recorded the Tongueless, I played Matt some of the songs. I was like, what do you reckon about these?
Felt like it was a good song, cool guys, and I knew we'd all be able to work hard and get something made. The idea from the clip kind of came from a couple of different places. I was actually out one night and at a gig, and the Low guys were playing, and I met Sam, who is the lead singer, and when they came on and played, I saw his performance, and the way he is, his presence on stage is really kind of entertaining, and he has a lot of energy, and the movement and his facial expressions and stuff are kind of like, he looks a bit mental, but it was kind of in a cool way. I was talking some more with the guys about it, and I just said, what if we get Sam and like have this pit of goo, and he comes out of the goo like a creature, and you guys are kind of playing in the background and it's all black. And they were like, yeah, man. And that's basically how it came about. It was pretty simple. I really like the idea of them playing in these kind of toxic waste suits, and then Sam coming up out of the goo, like the goo was kind of toxic, so they didn't want to be exposed to it. And the faster and harder they play, the higher he goes and the louder he gets. So we didn't have a lot of money to make the video, which you never do with music videos. They're not really something that you try and make money from. It's kind of more about the art than anything.
A lot of it relies on, favours and just getting people to be passionate about the filmmaking. We did a lot of the stuff ourselves.
The set, like the big black box and everything, we spent 2 nights building that, at a warehouse, just to, we had to do a trip to Bunnings and go and buy it all, and then put it all together and work out how to fit Sam in and make it strong enough so that it wasn't going to pop and put pink goo everywhere. Adrian sourced all the wardrobe from some weird place, some guy out west, and he had this leftover collection of gas masks and radiation suits.
Yeah, they'd actually brought them in from Germany after 9/11, and had bought in, I think, like 1,000 suits or something like that, because they were worried about what was going to be happening.
They were grey, so we had to paint them black, and then we had to get black instruments from places. We shot the clip in a big studio that is set up basically for stunt rigging, and it's just a handy place because we could pull Sam up out of the goo and make it look like he's kind of rising up, which was really important. The set itself was just such an amazing looking thing because it was pink and black that as soon as you lit it, it kind of came to life.
We were really lucky with the crew we had involved on this job. We had Stefan Ducci, a cinematographer, who really was quite excited about the idea and was very, very keen to get involved.
That's the fun thing about music videos, is that everyone's there because they like the idea and they want to make it and they want to be involved. So it's quite a fun set. There's not really any attitude or ego or animosity. It's just people there wanting to make something cool.
We had to work out how we were going to make this goo. It was got to be non-toxic, so Sam could be submerged in it. So I spoke to a company that I work with, who in the past have done lots of zombie makeups and just really interesting kind of special effects and makeup effects. One of the key products in it was a milk powder.
It had to come to set, like you can't come in a truck, and it just came in like 80 white buckets. So we had all these buckets, and we had to tip the buckets in, and as we were tipping the buckets in, we realised that the milk powder had been sitting around for a few days, and it was gross, and it made you retch a bit. And then I had the guys in their suits sweating their balls off.
The suits were absolutely boiling. Me kind of got off quite lightly.
Poor Adrian Griffin was in the back. We didn't even think about it because we were like, oh, you guys can just do a couple of takes and then we'll take you out and we'll just shoot Sam. And I realised he's in the back the whole time. So he was basically playing drums for a good 8 hours in the back of the scene, and he had to play. Like, he had to go for it and look good playing and play all the blast beats and kind of get keep the energy level up while wearing a rubber suit with a fucking gas mask.
Yeah, the poor guy was, between takes was pouring sweat out of his boots.
Yuck. Oh, dude.
To be honest, on the shoot, Sam probably had the most difficult job and was probably the most unknown of how he was going to react. Firstly, being body painted, which he'd never done before. He had a bald cap added to him. He had to have all his tattoos covered up.
So before he even got in the goo, he was pink because we didn't want to see through any of it. And then we dropped him in the goo, and because he was covered in body paint, his body temperature drops a lot, so he was freezing cold. Pink goo was like just all in his nose, and like we had to clean it out of his eyes. It just got in, but I wouldn't have even got in there.
Putting him in a situation like that where he's performing the song but having to, take direction on what he's doing from Matt, as well as really hold it together in pretty trialing kind of circumstances.
He just took it, man, and like went, okay, it's part of the performance, and he didn't drop the performance once. I think all credit to them for how awesome the performance looks, because they worked hard. And then when you see them on stage too, they play well and they're tight, so it's a fun performance to watch. And I think that's where the idea kind of stemmed from.